All right, guys, based on the title, this is part 2, as in there's a part 1 where I walk through a sketch of this. I think if you watch that video of the sketch, this will all make a lot more sense. But what it starts out with, again, is there's going to be a compost pit over there just off that side of the gate where the ducks are going to work the compost. It's going to be a pit just kind of sort of like that one, although maybe a little bit prettier. Since we're doing this as an intentional install, might as well. And the idea was originally to use, as a duck bath, one of these 50-gallon stock tanks. I have a ton of them, so why not use what you have? It was a good idea, except these are a foot high, and I really don't want to cut them down because I want around 50 gallons of water to flush through this system. I actually get significantly more water by cutting one of these at about 7 to 8 inches high. I ain't decided yet. This is a fiberglass tub. These were designed to distribute molasses to cattle, so they're really, really toughly built. So we'll just take and mark a line and use a metal blade on a jigsaw or a fine-tooth blade on a skill saw. I don't decide which one yet, and we'll just cut that. So we'll go ahead and blow one of them up, and I really like this because this is really, really solid. It'll be easy to mount bulkheads to and stuff like that so that it'll clean itself out. And as I said, it'll fill from essentially a spray bar back here so that when you turn it on and flush it out, it'll push all that duck effluent out a bulkhead that'll be sitting about right there. The reason I did that, my original plan was this is going to be the pond. There was going to be 3 of these sitting down there. I can't get them deep enough in the ground. I just can't do it. And when I had that tank that high up in the air, it barely trickled into this in the hole down there. So let's flip that around. We'll just do something else with this. I got plenty of uses for these things. This becomes the duck bath, and it's got a lot more surface area. So more ducks can get in there and swim around and poop it up at a time and have space. We'll build a platform here, kind of like a raised bed, but I have a ton of rock I need to get rid of. We'll just throw that in there. That'll lift that up. And the valves I was talking about that'll drain away will just sit right here with basically a manifold and three knobs. That one willow tree is going to go back here and provide shade for the birds inside their holding area. Another one's going to go just past that rock out there. We have those ash trees dying from the emerald ash borers, so we need some tree out there. My wife loves willows, so that gets her 2 willows. And like I said, whenever we don't need too much of that water going into the crawfish and feed system down there, you can't overwater a willow and you can't over fertilize a willow. It will take all you can give it and it just keeps growing. So that's about the only way we can even have willows here, is to have something this simplistic. Again, you'll come up here, you'll open a valve and drain it, you'll turn on a valve and flush it through, you'll shut the drain valve, it'll fill up, you turn it off. That's all you'll have to do every morning. Down here is where we'll have our compost pit. So somewhere right around in here, we'll have our compost pit. Our pond's going to be right here. And you can see I have that 4x4 there. I did that for a little bit of a sanity check. Let's go in there and talk about what we can do here. I dug it this deep. There is some chunk rock here. I can chip away at that a bit, and I can get it another couple inches deep. That's about it. And again, that big fiberglass tub sitting in that hole, the lip's just too high. And if I cut it down, it doesn't have enough water volume with 3 of those. So that's an 8-foot 4x4. That'll kind of help you visualize. 16 foot to come over to about right here. So here to there. 8 foot, so that same distance this way, bring you about here. So this is going to be a pretty sizable in-ground pond, but it's only going to be 2 of these high, and then a 2x4 as your top cap to sandwich the liner, and then another 2x6 for a cap that makes it look pretty. So it'll have a nice cap around it, mitered corners, all that jazz. Your overflows, this is real easy to level. We don't have to worry anything about the hole. The hole can be not perfectly level. That's fine. All we do is when we build this box, every time I do one of these, I just shim the box put a plain old spirit level on there, level it all the way around, and push dirt around it. And if it's within a 1/4 inch, it's more than good enough. That'll create 2 separate overflows that will go in the pipes that will go down this grade. And your first swell will probably come off about right where that little black pot is and come right through here, and it runs about toward that little clump right there. These swells will run almost on a perfect angle like this. If you look over there, you can see my contour gardens. Those contours come almost perfectly over here. And then your second one will be down a little bit past this stump, down about here. So they'll be in this area here. You can see it's not a very big area for really big, rugged, tough trees that can handle this tough environment. And that's going to make this a fantastic camping site. Now, the thing that we can do once we get this running, there's no reason that we couldn't carry on and maybe drop another tree down here in this little spot here to make another cool campsite. Just run a piece of pipe from the second swell down to here and close and open, and then you can water that one from time to time. But anything that's going to survive out here is going to need support. This is going to give fertility and water support. Crawfish tanks. Like I said, this tough shed here, this tough shed is a little bit over 12 foot from that door to that end. So I have a 12-foot stand. It's made with 12-foot 2x, and it was designed to hold beehives. And it will sit right here. And the other 3 of those big fiberglass tanks that I have that I'm going to cut one and make a duck house, they'll fit perfectly here like they were designed to. So we're going to have another, and they're about 150 gallons a piece. So that's another, what, 300, 450 gallons of water in this system to help balance out all that effluent. And again, just a simple pipe that comes up here and loops back into there. There's some other things we can do with this. Since it's so low, I said we could do some of those 50-gallon tanks. We could take those 50-gallon tanks and build a real simple stand here, because you put a 4x4 into the ground and cement it. It's real easy to level a piece of 2x going across, right? So we could do that, and we could have four 50-gallon ebb and flow beds along this fence, growing plants up onto this natural trellis, right? And the ducks can kind of poke through the fence and get at it and eat some stuff, but overall it's going to be really protected. We will probably do some sort of simple ebb and flow here with the tanks and let sweet potato vine cascade over. We could also take something like cattle panel here, right? That material. We could put a top trellis here, and we could run sweet potato vine up and over the tanks to help shade them. And that wouldn't be in our way when we're servicing them then. And that would also do what? Well, that's going to shade this wall. That keeps the duck's house cooler in the summertime. I'm sure they'd appreciate that. I'm not even sure all the ways that we're going to be function stacking here yet, because I know this is all the plan. And in this case, the plan is so well thought out, there's not a single piece of this plan that won't work. I've been on this property long enough, I've done these projects long enough that I don't have any surprises in store for me on this one. I know exactly what I'm getting myself into. As I build it, I'll keep finding new ways to stack functions. My goal is to have this system perform at least 30 separate functions. I don't even think it's going to be a struggle. I'm not even sure how many I've already got here, but there's the metal material. I have a couple more sheets of this, and that's what I'm saying. Over here, we build that tank. We could build a real simple pole barn looking structure, just some upright landscape timbers, and slap those across. And now you've got your water shaded to help keep it cool. It'll be a nice place for the ducks to use. Even with all this, they're not going to be in here that much. This is going to be a system that they use at the end of the day, maybe first thing in the day. Because usually what happens when you let them out, first thing they do is they haul ass out the gate, they go out and do their business. They got their swimming pools out there and stuff like this. So what I'll be doing, because it will take some time for this to drain, is I'll actually open this tank to drain when I put them to bed at night. That way when you come out in the morning, it's already drained. There's no water in there. There's no incentive for them to go in there first thing in the morning. They're going to leave and go out. They'll come back and use this in the evening. And that way I'll be putting effluent into there, but I won't be putting the level of it that you get out and about on the property. If I really wanted to, I could even close them out and only let them in after, let's say, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. There's lots of ways to handle this. But we're going to be making the highest quality compost you can make. We're going to be feeding the ducks. We're going to be feeding fish. We're going to be growing crawfish. We're going to be growing trees. We're going to be trellising. We're going to be ebbing and flowing. Eventually, we're going to have solar on the roof. I have ways that the water will cool itself. There's so much to this. It's hard to even explain in a video. And you know what the cool part is? My property's challenging. I can only dig that hole so deep, right? I don't have much slope. That's about the biggest slope I have on the whole property, right there. You're looking at it. I don't have another place on the property where it slopes that much. I've got very little fall between here and here. You know what that means? You could replicate this system, tuned to your needs anywhere. You want to see how it all comes together. You want to be part of it. You want to be able to look in the future and say, hey, not only do I know how that system works that that fool put out, I was there and helped him build it. Then make sure you get online Saturday morning, and it's the first Saturday. I don't remember what day it is now. In my head, it's burned out. It's like 7th or 6th or whatever. First Saturday of February 2021. If it's after that, you probably snoozed, you probably lose, and you're not coming to the workshop. 30 students will help build this. It will be about 80% done when we go put it all together, guys. And as far as the trees going down there, I haven't decided everything yet. But 2 of them are going to be lace bark elms. They're more of an ornamental. They're also a really good tree for bees. And again, I'm trying to make this a really nice crop system, but also a campground for fall camping for my fall workshop. But what about all the crop? Well, it just so happens right about the time that workshop comes will be the time to harvest the last of the summer crop, to put down the seed, and to scythe that. So guess what we'll be doing is fall workshops from here to eternity. Probably a little bit of that too. Take care, guys. This is going to be awesome. Catch you later.